We are back. Sheepai here, back with a video. And this time we're talking about P.U.N.K. I played a Kong's Cards tournament, which was online on Dueling Book with Battles of Legends Monster Mayhem. So this is the new set. And I played 8 rounds of P.U.N.K, so you don't have to. So here's what I learned. I wanted to talk about the deck because I felt like P.U.N.K is really interesting getting into the new format, or like not really a new format, but just getting new decks into the same old format. And P.U.N.K is what I played, so I get an experience with the deck. It was the first time I top 8'd the tournament, then I drew no non-engine and it happened, so that's fine, that's variance, so nothing special. I could have won every game, I feel like, if I played correctly, because I was still freestyling the deck. And this is just here to give you like the first taste of the deck. Like, I will make another video when the cards officially come out, because I have everything here except the new cards, obviously. And then I will go even deeper into that. But for now, I would just want to explain to you the basic concept of the deck, because I feel like it's really good. Maybe not tier 1, because it has somewhat of a problem with Fuva loss. But in general, like, this is the basic deck list, as you can see. Nothing too special, but first let's get into the new cards, just in case anyone hasn't read them yet. If you do, or if you did, just skip 20 seconds ahead, and then I will explain everything on the theory. But for now, Rising Scale is just emergency teleport, or even a Rotor, because it can banish another P.U.N.K from hand or graveyard. To summon itself, it can pay 600 and then summon a P.U.N.K monster from deck or add it to your hand. Or if it's on field and your opponent uses a monster effect with 25 or more attack, you can book it. It's a weird effect, which seems kinda awkward, but it's relatively good against Detonator, and it's also good against Desiree. Like, the best thing it did for me was negate the Desiree, because it booked the Desiree, and then it loses the equips, so it cannot negate anymore. Pretty cool card. Amazing support. Like, this is the best support that they could have gotten. Love it. Except there's even one better card, which is the new Gem Fever, rank 8, with 2 monsters. Sometimes you make it with 2 monsters because it can give you a draw by paying 600 and then you draw a card. And the other effect is it's a monster negate if you have a level 3 psychic in the graveyard, meaning if you play P.U.N.K, you have a monster negate. And the important thing about him is you can summon him over a synchro or fusion monster. And at first I was thinking, okay, so you summon him over the Gem Dragon Drive, which is the level 8 synchro monster. You summon, search Ogre, you make a negate, and then you're good to go. This is the point where I was wrong, because this is the real MVP. Amazing Dragon is amazing, as the name says. This is the card you're most likely going to summon the Omni over it, because it makes the lines so much smoother. As mentioned, I was kind of freestyling it, so it can be improved. Most definitely it can be improved. But in general, the feeling I got during the tournament when I started comboing is that Amazing Dragon is a real good extender, because it has the effect of when it's on field, you can revive a P.U.N.K monster. Meaning you can go into level 11 more easier than Synchro 8 by just committing less. Then revive something so you don't really go neck and bodies. And then you make the Omni over it, or like the Monster Negate, then you're Nibiru proof. And then you can play your other cards freely, which is amazing. I love the card. So, getting into the general gist of the deck, you have 12 starters, which is Xehamine, Ogre Dance, Foxy Tune, and Emergency Teleport. Nothing special. And then you have the typical P.U.N.K bricks. You have Shara Kusai, Wagong, Extreme Session, and Deer Note. I was thinking about playing 2 Deer Notes, but I felt like when I was going over it in my head, whenever I need the second Deer Note, I can just make something else. Or like, if playing optimally, I will not need the Deer Note. And a second Deer Note would have made some things better or easier, but in general, never mattered. You don't need the second Deer Note. I just want to keep my deck as smooth as possible. The only good thing the Deer Note has done, or like in general, is it makes Ogre Dance better as an extender, because all cards pair extremely well except maybe Xehamine and Ogre Dance. It seems a little weird if the Xehamine would be negated, but what you can do is you can use Ogre Dance, search Deer Note, then you can use Deer Note, reveal Xehamine and Deer Note, special summon the Deer Note, send the Xehamine to the graveyard, and then normal summon a Charmy, make Fiendsmith, and Deer Note will summon back the Xehamine. So you get some value out of it, and you can combo, even though it's not perfect, but it's a good combination of cards. So, and the Rising Scale. So it is not a starter, but it's basically the perfect extender. You have 12 hard starters, which is borderline enough. Maybe you also play Pot of Prosperity. I feel like I would recommend doing so, but you don't get the draws out of it, which is kind of weird. So not sure about it. For now, 12 starters are fine. And you have the Rising Scale, which is just the perfect extender, because if you have any other starter, you can just summon it and then play Yu-Gi-Oh! Also, if you draw it with the weird cards, it works, so not too bad. It can be a pseudo starter, but for now it's the perfect extender. So let's get into the real things with the deck. I was siding Madame Spider and Dangerous Gabu. As mentioned in Conquer tournament, I got top 8, so I played 7 rounds of Swiss, then top 8. In top 8 I lost again, and yeah, so in general it was a lot of Mitsuraizu, Malice, and Yubel, so a pretty okay matchups to get a feeling for the deck. It was also one Punk mirror match, but I won that. And yeah, so the deck has some experience, or like I tested it against some reasonable decks. Of course not the best players, because it's an online tournament, like you're not getting all the YCS toppers and stuff. But for now, just a good baseline. As mentioned, take the deck as a baseline. And I was thinking about siding these cards because, as you can see, the P.U.N.K engine itself is always a really big package. It's 19 cards, which is rough to put into a deck because it takes up a lot of non-engine slots, and you also most definitely want to play Fiendsmith. There is no world you're not playing Fiendsmith in the deck, but at the same time, it's hard to fit it. For my opinion, I was going at the minimum package. You always want to play Paradise. You can always send it with Foxy Tune and stuff. And you just need another interruption. But I was already cutting Attract just for space to fit more non-engine, because you cannot really go down on the P.U.N.K cards. You max out the starters and you want to max out a Rising Scale. And because you're playing a Rising Scale, you also kind of want to max out like the situational P.U.N.Ks, just so you can pair them more often. And even Wagong with any other starter is really good, because then you can get the field spell, you get the draws going, you can get the extension going, and you also have to, when your opponent targets a P.U.N.K, you can draw a card. So if you open like Emergency Teleport and Wagong, you can summon the Wagong, activate at field spells, activate Emergency Teleport, summon the Xehamine, and then you can get the draw of Xehamine. If you want to play around draw, you can not at the field spell, you can summon the Xehamine first, then you miss the draw of the field spell, but you play better into draw. And if they impermanent, you can also get the Wagong draw. So there's a lot of possibilities. And in general, you're really flexible with your lines. So maybe you could be cutting one engraver. That's maybe possible, because you don't need the Fiendsmith engine in general to win the game all the time. You can also just play mostly P.U.N.K. But I feel like Fiendsmith is always the best thing you can convert into. So I would prefer 2 engraver. But in general, I don't feel like it's possible to make the engine smaller, except maybe playing Sanct, because you're not really putting bodies on the field beforehand. So maybe we could cut the Luria with that. And then maybe you get 1 spot, because you kind of want to play more non-engine. The deck is really designed for playing a lot of non-engine, but at the same time, you don't want to go above 42. Like, I feel 42 is already hurting me a lot, because I only have like the 12 real starters and then the situational stuff. So you kind of don't want to go above, but you also want to fit in a lot more. That's tough. So maybe you can also not play the Bistures, because I felt like there were good starters or like extenders. But at the same time, they're not the best non-engine to end on. And now there's the real problem with the deck. The deck is not that good playing into Fuvelas. It's fine, but it's not amazing. And with it, you kind of want to have non-engine. And if you look at the current deck list, like, if you have non-engine, you're stopping the Charmy. So there's like 2 worlds. You're getting Charmy and you negate it, or like you don't get Charmy and you just play the deck. Or if you get Charmy and it resolves, you're most likely not having non-engine to back it up, because the non-engine would stop it. So maybe there's an argument to cut these. I would love to play more Nibiru's, because Nibiru is like the best card to end on if you get Charmy and you have to play on a minimal board. And the engine itself has some ways to kind of mitigate it, because you can use emergency teleport to summon the Shorakuzai on the opponent's turn to Synchro 11 to make a disruption. You also can just end on it by summoning it with Rising Scale, or like adding it to hand and summoning it out of the hand with the field spell. There are some convoluted, weird ways to play around Fuvalos. So you can always end on something and you get a lot of follow-up. But in general, it feels like it could be done a lot better. Like the games I lost were Fuvalos games where I couldn't do anything about it and my hand was like all engine. Understandably, as mentioned, otherwise I would have negated it. And for that, you kind of want more nips. Or you kind of want to main deck these cards because they're really good against Charmies because you can summon it out, add the trap, then you get like a non-engine that's searchable, like because it's basically just impermanence, and then you can kind of mitigate that. But as mentioned, you don't have the space in the main deck to do so, or at least I feel like it. And you also don't really want to cut down on the Charmies because Charmies are like the best cards going second right now in the game. You most definitely need them, so there's just two ways. Maybe put in Sanct to save one space, maybe cut one Engraver, which I don't like, but it's possible. Or maybe replace the Bistros with something else. But at the same time, you don't really want to play 3 Nips with this lineup, but maybe there's no other way around it. Other thing is like the cards are really good going second. They do a lot of things because they're not relying on having bodies on the field, but they're really good at providing bodies on the field. Meaning removal of your opponent is effective, but not really that important. Meaning you can always play into stuff. You're good at playing into a detonator because you can make Almirage into SP. Also the Almirage is here for going first if you have Seamin plus Rising Carp. If you're normal Seamin and it gets negated, or even if not, you can make Almirage, summon out the Rising Scale, and then do stuff from there. So you're really good at playing into boards. So maybe, not tested, but maybe there's a possibility to play this deck going second in game 1 because of the Charmies. So you can cut trash cards like Ash Blossom and Ghost Ogre to make the deck better going second, and even Called by the Grave, which is good going second, so you can kind of keep it in. But maybe you can play a going second deck game 1, and then if you're forced to go first, or like even post-boarding, nobody will most likely force you to go first, but you can choose to go first because your opponent thinks you're going second again. Then you can put in these engine requirements and then play a good going first deck. So maybe that's something to figure out or like to test around with. But in general, it's a good list. Maybe there should be a board rake to be even better under the Charmies, even though I like Jerusalem going second a lot more. But those are just the basic things you need to tweak with the deck. But it's a perfect list to start with. Going into the extra deck, nothing too special. You have the new thing, Duration? I don't know, Duration. Thunder God. It's Thunder God. So, new card, pretty cool. I was not expecting it to summon it that often, but kind of did. Like, whenever I was able to summon it, it was fine. MVP of the day, Agnum Day, most definitely. I put it in because I had too much extra deck space. But the thing is, like, you can use the punks to push really effectively into stuff because you have the Amazing Dragon, which is amazing removal, and you have the Jam Fever, which is also really good at pressuring boards. And then you can always kind of force out the interruptions and then push for Agnum Day OTK, which is amazing. Love that. And then, as mentioned, Almirage, perfect card, was amazing. Aggregator for Slayer, amazing. The only thing which is extremely bad, I was thinking about it, like not playing it because I felt like, yeah, okay, I will not go into it all that often. Turns out I went into it not a single time. This card is awful. It's not necessary. Your lines play into a lot more things and you get like no real result out of it. I think the card that's missing here is Link Spider. So you can play better into Nibiru, so you can pressure the Jam Fever because your opponent know at some point it will be summoned if they know the cards. Then they will nib you. You can leave a Foxy Tune on field and not a Foxy Tune, a Deer Note. Deer Note summons something back, you get the token, you make Link Spider, and then you can go Fiendsmith combo. I feel like that's needed, so it probably should be Link Spider. But in general, like, another rank 8 was not really needed. Maybe you play 2 Jam Fevers. maybe you kind of want to play Psychic and Punisher, but in general, all these cards are not really that necessary. I don't even know if the level 8 Synchro is that necessary. I just thought again, playing against Ryziel and stuff, adding Ghost Ogre is really good. So I did that. It was fine, as mentioned, but most of the time just making a Synchro 11 was easier to play around interruptions. So you can maybe cut the, not maybe cut, you can always cut the Rising card. This card is horrible. But for the rest, the extra deck is pretty good. You could maybe cut the Almirage, so like you have these 3 flex spots, but I like the Almirage a lot, as mentioned, for SP and just comboing better with Seamin and Rising Carp. So that's the deck. Like it a lot. Definitely give it a try if you want something fresh, something new. It will be legal for German nationals, which I will not attend, but friends of mine will, and I will always pitch them the deck because it's really good. But it will not be the tier 1 option. As a disclaimer, it will not be the best deck by far. Because of that, the Full problem is too big, but it's manageable. And if you need a basic deck list, this is the one. If you want to learn the deck, play this list all the time, and then you will see some great results. I enjoyed the deck a lot, and even though I didn't put too much time into it, but this is the list. Don't let anyone fool you into playing these cards in the main deck, unless they have a really good reasoning for cutting cards here, and never cut Fiendsmith. Like, if you're cutting Fiendsmith, you're making the deck so much weaker, you're making the OTK so much harder, you make everything worse. So, with that being said, that's the deck. Hope you enjoy it, and have a nice day.